Good afternoon to all of you. The report of CAG of India on economic sector and public sector undertakings have been placed for the year ended 31st March 2018 has been placed on the table of Kerala Legislative Assembly today. Now we will have a press brief in this regard. According to Article 151 of Constitution of India, the Comptroller and Auditor General of India submits his audit reports to the Governor for being laid to the table of the state legislature. The audit reports relating to the expenditure and revenue of the state stand referred to the Public Accounts Committee. The reports in relation to public sector undertakings are referred to Committee on Public Sector Undertakings. The committees examine the reports of CAG and make recommendations for remedial action by the government. As we proceed with this briefing, I will request all other participants to have their audio in mute mode, and as and when the brief is over, we may have certain questions. First, let us take the report on the economic sector. This has 3 chapters: introduction, and during that period we have done a performance audit on quality control measures, maintenance of roads by Public Works Department, and we have certain issues on compliance audits. First, on the functioning of Agency for Development of Aquaculture, and there are 11 more paragraphs on compliance audit. The introductory chapter, contains certain basic figures. The revenue expenditure incurred by the government of Kerala on economic services during 17-18, and the plan scheme it is 3,337 crores, and the non-plan schemes 8,000 crores. Now coming to performance audit. On the quality control issues by the PWD Department, Public Works Department. The quality control tests conducted by the department in the Works Department costing above rupees 15 lakh were inadequate. We have examined 282 such works, of which we have commented on 225 works. Further, there is non-establishment of field lab by contractors as mandated, which compromise the quality of works and led to undue favor to the contractors. This was noted in 85 works costing 611 crores out of 92 works costing more than 2 crores checked. Further audit findings. There are lapses in quality control. Measures like absence of quality control measures like absence of proper job mix formula, non-conduct of roughness index tests, non-deployment of qualified personnel by contractors, the supervision of works resulted in defective execution of works. We have conducted joint physical verification also in this regard. We have also found out mandatory third-party tests were also not conducted in this 55 work. In around 55 works. Works with large estimates are split into smaller works of 15 lakh. They have been split up into 28 works costing 8.16 crore to avoid quality control tests. 28 works has been split up into 63 works. Prior intimation of work site visits by the officials of quality control wing made the contractors and the field staff vigilant. The quality control tests conducted on such occasions always produced satisfactory results. On the contrary, when joint physical verifications were conducted unannounced in a surprise manner, it revealed that the observations were not in conformity with the prescribed procedures. Further, absence of monitoring mechanism led to non-review of quality control activities by the superintending engineers and Director Investigation and Quality Control, and payment of work bills without ensuring the conduct of quality control tests. Quarterly reviews on the quality control systems has not been conducted. Resurfacing work of roads could not be prioritized as most of the roads division did not maintain road charts. The road charts normally show the history of renewal of surface of different sections of roads. Because of this, in many cases, resurfacing of roads were not done. In certain cases, resurfacing was done even before the due dates, and there had been overlapping of such works. Further, improper methods and unsuitable materials were used for road maintenance works, compromising the quality of roads and making them accident prone. These specifications are given by the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. This we have examined both in our test samples and due to and because of, and certain findings are basically because of joint physical verifications. Coming to compliance audit, we did an exhaustive compliance audit on functioning of Agency for Development of Aquaculture Kerala. Agency for Development of Aquaculture Kerala, it is mandated to promote development of aquaculture in the state. However, we found that it undermined the efforts to promote responsible and sustainable aquaculture through its non-compliance of regulatory norms of the Coastal Aquaculture Authority. What we found here was registration was done for a specific activity, but no registration has been done in certain forms done by ADAC. In certain cases, registration has lapsed, and registration though was done for traditional farming, and in actual practice, non-traditional farming was also done. Further, there was non-adherence to guidelines issued by Ministry of Agriculture and Coastal Aquaculture Authority in farming of white-leg shrimps, resulting in failure of 2 crops cultivated by the agencies. In this regard, what we have found out is proper water level was not maintained in the farms. Apart from the designated species, specified species, other species like mud crab, which carry viral pathogens, and fin fishes were maintained. As a result, as against a targeted 11,000 kilograms of yield during two crops, we found that the yield was just 365 kgs and 1,400 kgs. Further, we noticed certain deficiencies in implementing the project, promotion of rice shrimp farming in Kaipat lands. This resulted in non-revival of farming in at least 150 hectares of Kaipat land, in spite of incurring 1.22 crores towards subsidy to 23 beneficiary groups. We also noticed that the agency farmed genetically improved farm tilapia without adhering to the safeguards recommended by Kerala State Biodiversity Board. This poses potential risk to indigenous fish varieties and also to biodiversity. This apart, there were other compliance audit observations in different departments. Coming to Fisheries Department, the Fisheries Department had paid rupees 88 lakh to select group of 74 owners of illicit China nets, disregarding the fact that they were already paying a compensation of 92.5 lakh and they were not eligible for second payment. Further, in case of PWD, we have a couple of points. The audit issues which came up in Public Works Department are as follows. Failure to recover the cost of bitumen from the work bills at the rates included in the revised estimate resulted in excess payment of 99 lakh to the contractor by the PWD. The cost of bitumen here was not recovered at 2010 SR rates, but recovered at 2009 SR rates. There was incorrect valuation of volume of work by PWD based on fictitious level measurement, resulted in inadmissible payment of 1.54 crore to the contractor. This is we found both that the measurement was fictitious and there was incorrect calculation. And we also found out that there was improper management of securities. PWD department did not manage the securities from the contractors. This resulted in extending undue favor of 15.73 crore to the contractors and also placing an avoidable financial burden of 1.34 crore to the government. Certain securities were inadequate, certain securities were released prematurely, certain securities were not renewed, and certain securities had to be adjusted from other works, but still it could not be done. Further, non-finalization of tender by PWD within prescribed firm period resulted in that tender not being taken up. They had to again re-tender. That resulted in an avoidable expenditure of 3.17 crore. In case of Kerala State Cooperative Consumer Federation Limited, they have purchased 9 ferrous cement hull boats. Of this, after purchasing 1 cement hull boat, though Chief Inspector Boards Irrigation Department refused the certificates, they had to purchase more boats. That resulted in an expenditure of 1.82 crore becoming infructuous. Then in case of Cooperation Department, what we found out was there was a lapse of the Cooperation Department in enforcing the provisions of Kerala Cooperative Societies Act 1969 regarding audit fees. This resulted in non-collection or short collection of an audit fee of 16 crores. even from cooperative societies which are profit making. There are 5,396 cooperative societies from which this money had to be collected, of which 640 are profit making. Further, ineffective internal control system in the cooperation department led to non-remittance or short remittance of dividend of 95 lakh by cooperative societies to the government. In case of tourism department, non-adherence to CRZ notification on implementation of projects by Department of Tourism resulted in irregular expenditure of 8.97 crore in 3 out of 6 project examined. Actually, there are 28 projects. We have examined 6 projects, of which we found out this anomaly in 3 projects. It resulted in irregular expenditure of 8.97 crore. And there was also a loss of Government of India assistance to the tune of 9.55 crore in respect of 2 projects. So these are the salient features of which occurred in the economic sector report. Now coming to the report on public sector undertakings. This report is organized into 2 parts. One basically the power sector public sector undertakings, and the other one on non-power sector public sector undertakings. We have chapters on introduction, the functioning of the power sector PSUs and the functioning of other public sector undertakings, and a compliance audit on implementation of small hydroelectric projects by KSCBL, a compliance audit on non-subsidized management of non-subsidized commodities in Kerala State Civil Supplies Corporation, and we also have 6 paragraphs which are basically compliance audit observations. Coming to functioning of state public sector undertakings, this is the number of companies, 121 working, 15 non-working, totaling up to 136. The turnover of 121 working PSUs is 28,900 crores. The investment of the government in 136 PSUs is 39,000 crores. In the power sector, we have 3 PSUs. The turnover is 12,382 crore. Investment in these 3 companies is 19,400 crores. The overall loss incurred is 1,850 crores. There are 133 PSUs apart from the 3 PSUs which we have mentioned in the power sector. Of this 133, 180 are working PSUs. The turnover of these working PSUs is 16,535 crores. The investment in these PSUs is 20,000 crores. Financial performance of working PSUs other than PSUs as mentioned here. 45 PSUs earned a profit of 383 crores and 64 PSUs incurred a loss of 1,973. 1 PSU had no profit or loss, and 8 PSUs did not finalize their first accounts. The details of all these things are available in the paragraphs mentioned in the respective slides. Coming to the performance audit on management of non-subsidized commodities in Supplyco. The major audit findings are as follows. Absence of integrated software at outlets, depots and head office. This resulted in an extra expenditure of 7 crore. This is basically due to improper assessment of requirement of commodities accumulation of stock in outlets, issuance of multiple purchase orders in a month for the same commodity and at a different price. Next, the negotiations were conducted with all the bidders in 2,749 out of 8,172 cases examined. Instead of the negotiations were conducted, instead of with the lowest bidder, it was done with all the bidders, and purchase orders were issued to bidders other than the original lowest bidder in case of 1,108 cases it was issued to other than the lowest bidders. This is against the stores purchase manual of the government and against the CBC guidelines. The pricing policy of Supplyco regarding these non-subsidized items was not reviewed periodically. The selling price for branded rice was fixed wrongly, resulting in a loss of revenue of 11 crore. Incorrect implementation of pricing circulars resulted in loss of 39 crores. These were basically because this short fixing is due to erroneous implementation and proper costing was not done. Further, instead of taking only one GSTIN, the company took 62 GSTINs for its depots, regional offices and head office. So the input tax credit accumulated in the GSTINs of 56 depots and 5 regional offices amounting to 7.55 crore could not be utilized. Coming to complaints audit observations. We did a compliance audit on implementation of small hydroelectric projects by Kerala State Electricity Board. As against an envisaged capacity addition of 148 megawatt, the actual capacity addition was 200. Sorry. As against, and we studied the complaints audit observation is for a period of 3 years. However, we also compared the position for the plan period of 1270 as against an envisaged capacity addition of 148 megawatt. The actual capacity addition was 39.35 megawatt. There were delays in diversion of forest land, acquisition of private land, defective detailed project report, water availability based on 90% dependable year was not considered, financial viability indicators were not realistic, there was no synchronization of civil and electrical mechanical works. These all led to extension of completion time and resultant loss of generation of 608 million units of energy valued at 313 crore. Performance of commissioned units. Here we have taken up our study included 6 power projects. Peruthinarvi, Barapur, Adayambara, and ongoing projects Budathamirtu, Koringalkuttu and Kappayam. Performance of commissioned units did not match the projections due to failure of equipment, obstruction free flow of water to the water conductor system, etc. In case of Kerala State Financial Enterprises Limited, there are issues relating to sanction and recovery of defaulted loans. This was examined. KSFE accepted public deposits in excess of government guarantee, ranging from 208 crore to 2,991 crore. Gold loans were sanctioned to private money lenders in violation of objectives of the company. The objective of the company was to save them from the clutches of the private money lenders. During 15-16 to 17-18, the percentage of NPA on loans outstanding of the company, loans outstanding, ranged between 18.53 and 22.25, whereas the NPA of NBFCs, as per the report of Reserve Bank of India, was just 5.86% as of March 2008. Apart from these compliance audits, we have some other compliance audit observations. In case of Kerala Fields Limited, failure to implementation of a project wherein identifying 7,204 women beneficiaries for free distribution of goods that got failed. This resulted in a loss of Government of India assistance amounting to 3 crores. Objective of the scheme, which was basically equipping women to become self-employed or entrepreneurs, could not be achieved. We also had certain observations with reference to Kerala State Road Transport Corporation, sharing of revenue from bill, operate and transfer projects. Non-adherence to directions of Government of Kerala in payment of annuity by the BOT operator led to avoidable loss of interest of 0.40 crore. The share of revenue amounting to 4.54 crore from the use of interest-free security deposit remained to be claimed from the BOT operator. Now, this is in brief about the reports. The report link will be uploaded in our website, and once it is uploaded, you can have details from the website. Thank you. If you have any further questions on it, you may please ask. The individuals can unmute their video, then you can ask the questions. If there are no questions, then we can wind up the press brief. Any further questions? In that case, we can will be uploading the details in our website. You may refer to it. Thank you. Thank you.